Hey everyone, welcome to another Pick a Card Tarot reading from me, JP, at Junodrome Tarot, Junodrome Intuitive Arts. I know I don't come on to this all that often, and I apologize for that, but, doing the best I can. Someday I'll be doing this more than I'm doing now, but for now, I'm just doing what I can. This is going to be a reading on, spring messages. It's a spring check-in, right? I don't know about you, but for me personally, I like to use the seasons and the solar cycle to help me build things into my life. So, we start the year at the beginning in winter. Winter sort of grows into spring. By spring, we can start to grow into something. I feel like we kind of culminate a little bit like around the summer, and then it goes back down again, right? It feels very similar to like a lunar cycle, the solar cycle, whereas in winter, at the winter solstice, we're at the lowest point, and then we grow into the climax of the summer, and then we shrink again. So if we look at the solar cycle like a lunar cycle, that would mean that spring, the spring equinox, when I'm recording this, is the first quarter moon. Very similar energy to that. So we're building things up, we're building momentum. So we're gonna check in. We're gonna check in here. You have plenty of time until the summer culmination, climax, and then the slow down again after that. So let's check in here with the spring. So anyway, choose which pile's calling out to you. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3. I'll give you a moment to try to choose, and I will meet you in your reading. Down below in the description section of this video, you can find the reading. All right, welcome, pile number 1. This is your spring check-in. Let's see, what does the spring want to tell you? We've got the strawberry here. Strawberries, fruit. What is bearing fruit in your life? What will bear fruit? What have you been working on here in this year so far that's going to bear you fruit? Right? I don't know, something like that. Let's see, what's this card say? It says, savor life. All right, so how can you enjoy the aspects of your life that are present right now? How can you take the time to enjoy different parts of your life as we move through this moment? Let's take a look here. Savor life. Yeah, there is a bit of an energy here of the importance in taking the time to enjoy the little things in life. Especially if you are trying to make something happen right now, if you're like really gung-ho about trying to bring something into your life. Sometimes we can get really obsessive in the mind about trying to do something or accomplish something or build something, and we forget that we're living a day-to-day life, and that your day-to-day life is just as important as whatever it is you're trying to make happen, right? And that if you're able to without learning how to take the time right here, right now, to enjoy where you are and what's going on, even if you do accomplish the thing you're trying to accomplish, if you don't take the time to learn how to enjoy being here now, once you get that thing, it's going to feel empty, right? Because it's the goal of trying to get there is what was all consuming within your mind, and you weren't giving yourself the time to enjoy. So there's a message here on the importance of enjoying the little things, the day-to-day things, to savor the experience of living, well, regardless of whether you have achieved something or you got somewhere or whatever your mind is telling you. Because if you don't learn how to, and this is advice I'm giving myself right now as much as I'm giving you, so don't think that I mastered this. Like I'm not. I'm a human. I'm dealing with the same thing here, but if you tell yourself that there, oh, as soon as I get this thing, everything's going to be great. Oh, I'm going to get this thing and then my life will be blah, blah, blah. Even if you go and you achieve that thing, your mind has been living in the someday, right? You've been pushing yourself off into the future. And so if you haven't learned the practice of being in the present and loving yourself in the present and accepting life in this present moment as it is, nothing that you achieve in the future is going to feel like it's enough, because you have placed yourself into the future. And the future is an idea, right? When we get to the future, we don't experience the future as, now I'm here in the future, right? We experience it as the present moment. And so when you get to that present moment, if you haven't learned how to be present in the moment and accept yourself in the present moment, the achievement isn't going to feel like enough, because your entire modus operandi, your entire way of being is existing in the future. Yeah, all right, let's take a look here. We got some oracles, we got some tarot. Let's do the tarot first. We got 2 cards that probably have a message together. So we have the World and we have the Knight of Cups. I usually don't do reversals in my readings just because for general readings, I feel like it's just easier to not. So let's see, with the Knight of Cups here, this is a bit of a slower moving energy. It's not the slowest knight in the set, but it is a slower knight. Like, I really do think with that savor life here, there's a real message for the spring here of really taking the time to enjoy the finer things in life, to just slow down, enjoy where you are, enjoy your life, take the time to with this cup here, the cups are all about emotions and, experiencing your emotions. But for here, I'm just getting this image of like, sitting down with some friends at like a bar or some kind of place. You don't have to drink, but I'm kind of getting that feeling, of like slow in the sun, having a drink, enjoying, which feels very summer energy to me. So, there's a potential here too as we move into the spring. This is a check-in for the year, right? I'm getting a sense of like, make sure this spring that you build in, as you're planning for the summer, make sure that you have lots of time this summer as you're building in the future to have slow, enjoying, vacation-y kind of vibes, especially with the World too. It's almost like you're being encouraged to plan a vacation this summer. That's what I'm feeling, like figure out some time to take a vacation, to take a break, as you're planning out the next few months here, as you begin to look towards the summer. How can you plan something for yourself that's going to open up some kind of peaceful, travel-y kind of lazy river vibes? I'm feeling that, and that it's important to take some time for yourself to not have to do anything, to not have to achieve anything. And I feel like that's going to help refill your cup as well. With the World card is a graduation card. It's like moving on to the next level. So, there's a sense here too of like taking the time to appreciate just how far you've come in life and on your journey towards what you're trying to achieve, or where you're going. Like, it doesn't all have to be about getting that thing completed. Sometimes it's about like, oh, well, let's look back on what I've already achieved and accomplished, because like going off of what we've already said here, the other problem with putting everything off into the future moments is that as soon as you complete something, you might just be on to the next thing. And so there really is a never feeling satisfied vibe going on with this reading. And so this spring and into the summer, the next 3 months and beyond, you're really encouraged to take some time and reflect on where you've been. This is the first time I've ever noticed that this knight has a bunch of fish on his regalia here. And fish and Pisces, it's creativity, it's like flowing through the ocean, it's swimming. Maybe you should find a way to go swimming, or just like being in water. The spiritual nature of water could be really important for you in recharging and refilling your cup here. That like if you take some time to be in the receptive energy instead of in the active energy, you're going to get something from the universe as well in this. That sometimes we need to take time to go off in nature and look at the signs, and look for the symbols, and let them come into our minds and into our brains, that like if we take some time to go on a hike or to go sit by the ocean or to go swimming, without having to do anything, you clear your thoughts and then all of a sudden you have these inspired actions come in, and so it's like, especially maybe if you felt like you're at some kind of like, what do you call it? Like you're stuck, if you're experiencing any kind of stuck energy or like a writer's block kind of energy, or like I'm not able to get what I want done kind of an energy, there might really be the need to take some time off and really like let yourself not have to do this thing anymore, and let the ideas and the inspirations come to you, and then you can take the actions after that. That there'll be more time and energy to do that. So let's put these aside and take a look at your oracles. Let's start with the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. We have balance. Yeah, so, I do think that there's been a little bit of an imbalance here for the first, if this is a spring check-in, we're looking at your year and we're 3 months into the year, we're checking in, seeing how you're doing. There might be some kind of situation here where it's like there's been a bit of an imbalance in your active and your receptive energies. And so, in order to come back into balance, there is a need to let go a little bit. And, maybe you started the year really gung-ho and like, okay, I need to achieve this, and I need to accomplish this, and I need to do this. And, maybe that excitement and that energy was put a little bit too much on, and there's an imbalance in that. And so it's like, okay, that's great that you want to do these things, go off and do them, but you also need to take some time for yourself to relax and to enjoy and to not have to do things, to let yourself just exist, to let yourself just be here in the moment. And that if you allow yourself to do that and to take that time, I think that there's an opportunity for you to really come back into a sense of alignment and into a sense of balance with yourself. And that if you give yourself that time, I think you're going to be able to achieve a lot more, right? And because like, if you're only in the active energy, go, 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 gung ho, gung ho, gung ho, you are going to reach a point where there's a breaking point in that, and you won't be able to continue, right? And then, any kind of, maybe in the first little bit, the first spurt of that, you were able to do a lot, but then, the recovery mode or the burnout mode is so much longer that, in the long run, you're able to achieve a lot less than you would have been able to if you had built this sense of balance, where sometimes you are taking the time to do nothing, and sometimes you are taking the time, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be planned. I think for me, where I run into problems, and maybe you run into these problems too, I don't know you, but I just know myself, so I can talk to myself here. When I go through this cycle, because I go through this cycle all the time, so this reading is most likely for me as well as it is for you. There's a sense here of like, it doesn't have to be planned. Like, okay, like my type A, I got both. I need to have a lot of things planned, and I also need to like have a lot of things be spontaneous. You can allow the rest to be spontaneous. It's just meet yourself where you are, feel yourself where you are, make sure that you are developing a sense of self-awareness where you can see like, oh, hey, all right, I see that I'm not able to do this and my body and my mind are rebelling right now against my goals, right? All right, I see that rebellion's happening. So that means I'm going to just allow myself to not force it. Like, I'm going to just take my time, see where that goes, and we'll see, And then from there, give yourself some time, some rest, allow it. And then when it feels like it's ready to, you're feeling antsy, you're like, all right, I got to keep doing something. Then jump into that too, like feel it out. It doesn't have to be scheduled. It doesn't have to be planned. Although if you want it to be that way, I think you can do it that way. But, you could just feel it out. It doesn't have to be like, on Tuesdays I do nothing, and on Wednesdays I do everything, because then maybe your mind and your body aren't going to fit that schedule, and then you're going to you could get caught into this cycle of like hating on yourself for not being able to work because Wednesday's work day and I have to work on Wednesday because Thursday's not work day. So if I don't work Wednesday, then what's going to happen Thursday? And if Thursday doesn't work, then what am I going to do Friday? You don't have to follow a plan like that if that doesn't fit you in your life, just because that sounds like the right thing, to schedule things out, some people don't work that way, you got to feel out for you. So do what you need for you here, we got one card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, which is Ascension. Yeah, so, there's a sense here too where it's like you need to take this time because there's a spiritual component to this as well, you need to take the time to do nothing because there's important spiritual connections that need to come in, and maybe that's just as simple as an inspiration. You don't have to view it as spiritual as I do, but I view all creativity and ideas and inspirations as being something spiritual personally. But that's just me. But there's a sense here where it's like you need to take this time off because that's going to help you understand things better. You see the little light shining on the top of this angel here. It's actually better if we keep him down here. That's the inspiration coming in through the crown chakra here, and he's holding this pearl of wisdom. But that pearl is only able to come in because he's given himself this ability to view the spiritual aspects of this stuff, of his journey. So it's like, there's a sense here where you need to give yourself time off because you need these ideas to come, and they're only going to come in the receptive energy. They can't come in the active. So you have to give yourself time to get the receptive energy, especially if what you're trying to do active wise comes from this place of the receptive. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to do anything creative or anything ideas based, you're not going to get those ideas unless you don't give yourself the time, so you have to give yourself the time here. Anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. So that is your spring check-in. I hope that it resonates, and let me know in the comments what you think. Either way, glad to read for you. There'll be more coming. I can't tell you when. I'm sorry, guys. But hopefully you get something out of this one. I will continue to do these the more that I can. This channel's not dead. It's just slow. I will continue to do the tarot. I think that it's important for me, and I think it's helpful for you guys too. So it'll keep coming. Anyway, catch you later. Hello, pile number two. Welcome to your spring check-in. This is going to be a reading for how you doing this year so far, and what are some advice moving forward, right? Like I said in the intro a little bit, I tend to look at the solar cycle very similar to the lunar cycle, where you, in the new moon, you set your intentions, and then those intentions grow, and then by the full moon, you have a culmination, and then it continues to wind down by the a new moon again. And so I think the year works very similar for me. I've noticed over the years, where, if we had that analogy where the winter solstice is the new moon and summer solstice is the full moon, that would put the spring equinox, where we are today as I'm recording this, at the first quarter moon. So we're going to check in and see how you're doing the first quarter of your year, roughly. And you chose the pile with this flowers card. These little white little bleeding heart kind of looking things. I don't know. If you know what this flower is, let me know. I never know what any of the flowers are. It says, bloom, my darling, bloom. Yeah, so you are starting to bloom here. There's a little bit of that energy where whatever intentions you were setting at the beginning of your year, you're starting to see a little bit of a blooming energy from that. So let's take a look and see what that's all about, you know? There's a sense here where, you know, you're starting to see a little bit of things. So what's happening for you? Let's see. We're going to start with the tarot cards. We've got the tarot here. We have the Page of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. Yeah, so something has happened where you've allowed yourself to either change your mind about something this year so far. It's like I feel like you have a different approach in the mind this year than you've had in previous years, or for the last few months you've been approaching your life, you've been approaching things a little bit differently, right? And it comes from this very sense of calm energy here. I'm looking at, you know, she's wearing this bracelet here that looks very similar to a mala. And so, you know, I get the sense from her a lot that she's very analytical, but she's also like very calm in the mind. You know, she's a very clear-headed, person. And so there's a sense of like, you know, and we see the bird up there. So it's like she's spiritually connected as well. So I'm getting the sense that it's like you're allowing yourself this year to really calm your mind, calm your mental chatter to the point where you're able to hear the messages from spirit. You're able to hear the situation on what's going on, and it's almost like that this connection that you're having to something larger than yourself is changing the way that you view your life, and it's changing the way that you view the world. And that change here is starting to see some results. You're starting to see some changes in your actual physical world now based on this new mode of thinking, this new way of interacting with the world on the mental level. And so, you know, we see with the Page of Pentacles here that like you're giving yourself a new opportunity in the way that you think, in the way that you, so this new way of thinking that you're experiencing is leading to a new world coming into your life. The Page of Pentacles, the Pentacles are all about the material world, the world or the physical world around you. And the Pages are new beginnings in some senses. They're like students. It's a student energy, learning how to do things a new way. So it's almost like you're learning how to experience the world differently on a physical level than you have experienced in the past. And this new way of interacting with the world is coming, it's coming up in a way that's different, in the sense that it's like by thinking about your life and thinking about the universe a little bit differently this year and being more spiritually connected, you're starting to see that reflected in your physical reality in some aspect, right? In some change. And, you know, the Pentacles can sometimes talk about material, like money, in the sense that like a lot of times people use the Pentacles to talk about career or to talk about jobs and that kind of thing. So we could look at it that way. And we could say that, you know, maybe you changed your mind about something and now the way that you make money is starting to change a little bit. You know, maybe you did start a new job or you've got some kind of new opportunity coming in that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You know, it could be a move, you know, but there is some sort of change in your physical world. It could be even a change in your health, you know. You could be looking at, you know, you could have changed your mind about how you view your body and how you view what healthy habits should be. And, you know, because of that, you've made some physical changes and maybe you're starting to see that change reflect itself in the physical world. You know, it could be something like that even. So there is a sense here that you've allowed yourself to change your mind, to change your thinking, and that change in thinking is changing your world around you. All right, so let's get some more. I want clarification for you. I haven't done that for the other one, but I do want that for you. So let's see. Let's pull some more cards here. What do I want clarification? Give me one card about the physical world. How has your physical world changed? We got the Page of Wands and we've got the Eight of Pentacles. So it's almost like, you know, you're another page here, 2 pages. And we got the 8. The 8 talks about hard work, you know, almost being ready to harvest something. So I do think you put in a lot of work somewhere. And that work is tied to the Page of Wands here. So it's like that's work towards your inspirations, towards your drives, towards your goals. So, you know, maybe, you know, you have something in particular that you've been wanting to happen in life. You know, maybe like you've had some kind of goal or you've had some kind of, you know, manifestation you're trying to get, whatever, you know, you're trying to make something happen in your life. And I think maybe you've been working really hard on that thing for a long time, but maybe, you know, you lost a little bit of the inspiration along the way. And so this new mindset, though, this new way of looking at things, this new way of moving, this new way of thinking has opened up a renewed sense of inspiration. And maybe it's a perspective shift, you know, maybe it's sort of like you can see now how far you've come. Maybe part of this mental change was like learning how to look at this from a new perspective, where the old perspective was, oh my God, I have so much I have to do still. Like I have all these things I have to do. Maybe the shift is like, okay, yeah, that's true. But like, look at how much I've actually accomplished already and look at how far I've come. And by connecting to how far I've come and what I've done, you know, I'm able to open myself up to a new sense of inspiration to keep going. Because it's like, wow, look at all of this. You know, maybe you're inspired by yourself now. And that's allowed this physical change to come in, where it's like the world around you is changing because you've allowed yourself to change your perspective on this stuff. Let's look at your oracle cards now. It first comes from the Healing with the Angels oracle deck. And we have the Focus card. Yeah, so it's almost like I feel, and look, we got white flowers, white flowers. What are white flowers? White is like surrender, you know? So I do think there is a sense of surrendering to spirit. So it's like if you felt uncomfortable or you felt like, you know, at your wit's end, maybe I would say in winter or by the end of last year, you know, before you had this mental change, you know, and it could be longer, it could be shorter, it depends on your situation, you know, but before this shift, I do think maybe you came to a sense of, you know, feeling at the end of the line a little bit like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't do this, or why can't I have this thing, you know? And this mental change it's bringing into focus, you know, you're bringing your mind into focus on what it is you really want, how you can actually achieve what you want, and what are the small little steps you can take in this moment to get closer to where you want to go. I feel like there is this renewed sense of focus here that is really helping you out in this moment. And in this spring check-in, you know, the things that are going to help you moving forward as you move towards the summer solstice, is remember to stay focused on what it is you're trying to do or what it is you want, you know, continue to keep the Queen of Swords mentality where she's very, very clear-headed on what she wants. She keeps that at the forefront and she cuts away any of the mental chatter. So, you know, as you continue to move, you know, to build towards whatever it is you're trying to build towards, keep focused on what it is you want to do. What are you trying to do? What is your main timeline? You know, you don't have to make your timeline necessarily, but, you know, you don't have to be totally and completely obsessed with, I have to do this thing by this date on this time. You know, you don't have to completely be rigid that way. You know, keep things a little bit loose, but do keep focus on what you're trying to do, you know? Like, I'm trying to culminate what thing, and how am I going to achieve that? What can I do to make this thing happen for myself? Keep that goal in mind. Keep that idea in mind. Keep that moment in mind, and you'll be able to get to where it is you're looking to go if you maintain that focus. Let's look at the Shamanic Healing Oracle. We've got a new day. Yeah, it's a new day and a new opportunity. I really feel like that. You know, for you, for the spring check-in here, it's like you've opened yourself up to a new opportunity, to new ideas, to new times ahead. It's all new here. So, you know, you're not beholden to the way things have gone in the past. If you did run into some kind of brick wall in the past, there is a change here. You made a change at the beginning of this year, some change that you've made, and even if it's a small little tiny change and maybe it's not fully implemented, but something has changed, something has shifted. And that is what I think you should be focusing on. What is the new that's coming in here? What shift have you done? Focus on that a little bit more. Pay attention to that shift, that even if it's really small, take a look at it. Use the Queen of Swords energy to really take a look at what has changed in my mind, what has changed in my perspective. Do some journaling and figure that out, because whatever that little change is, like, that's what you should be rolling with. Like, that's whatever message is coming in this reading, it's saying, hey, that small shift that you made that's like moved things, even if it's like a tiny little bit here, it is having huge ramifications to your future, so if you roll with that, it's really leading you towards a bright, beautiful new experience of life and a new day and a new way of operating. So trust that newness, trust that thing, because it's here for you. There is a new day, a new opportunity for you, and you're already on the right path towards it. So allow yourself to embrace the new way of doing things, because that new way is your way forward here. It's your way of moving into the future. So really, allow yourself to do that, because it's here for you. It's ready. It's just up to you to accept it, to move towards it, and to honor it. Anyway, pile number 2, that was my spring check-in for you. So I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think. Either way, commenting on the video really helps the algorithm, especially because I'm not a super active channel. So give it a like, give it a comment, share with your friends if you want. There will be more videos in the future. I cannot guarantee how often they will come out, but I do know that they will continue to happen as I change, as life moves around for me. We'll see how much I can continue to do, but I'm going to keep this channel going, so keep tuning in. Anyway, pile number 2, that's it for me. Catch you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be your reading for a spring check-in. What does that mean? So it's the spring equinox as I'm recording this, probably down to the time even, just about down to the time. I think it's like 20 minutes from now is the spring equinox exactly, which is pretty cool. So, I told a little bit in the intro, but I tend to view the spring as, let's see. What do I view the spring as? Spring is renewal. Spring is opening back up again. But I also view the solar cycle very similar to the lunar cycle, right? If you think about a lunar cycle, at the new moon, we set our intentions. And then as we move into the full moon, we have a culmination and a release, and then we have to slow back down to the new moon again. I think the year works very similar for me, where it's like, we set our intentions at the winter solstice. As we move up by the summer solstice, we have a culmination, and then it slows back down again. That would put, in that analogy, the spring equinox where we are today, that would put that very similar to a first quarter moon. So it's a great opportunity to have a little check-in and see where we are, what's going on, how have we done so far in the year, what's coming moving forward, and what can we do moving towards the summer solstice. So let's take a look. First up, you chose this bouquet of flowers. So, a bouquet, it's a mix of flowers, right? It's a bunch of different things. So there's an opportunity here to take a look at all of the little things that you've done, and maybe you're slowly working on things, and maybe you have a lot of ideas and a lot of opportunities and a lot going on. So I think maybe you're going to be a very dynamic pile here, a very dynamic person. But let's see what the message says. It says, how lovely the silence of growing things. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that message is a little bit different, but we can roll with it too. There's a lot growing in your life, I think, And there's this silence to it too. This silence is big here. So, things that happen silently, they're quiet, so it's hard to see. So maybe there's some growth happening in your life that maybe you're not quite aware of, and it's not super obvious, but that growth, and maybe it's happening a little bit in a lot of places, and that variety all together builds up to be this beautiful bouquet. So maybe there's not one giant thing happening right now in your life, and maybe that can feel a little frustrating, but maybe there's been some little growth in so many different areas that are all working together to bloom and blossom into a beautiful bouquet of growth, of spiritual growth in your life. And so, even if things, don't feel like they're where you want to be in life, there's a sense with this reading that, you're growing in so many small areas that are all adding together to build this beautiful life for yourself, and that you should take the opportunity in this spring check-in to congratulate yourself, to pat yourself on the back for allowing yourself to have some growth in these different places. Maybe there's a lot going on in your life, and maybe these changes are small and subtle, but they're all adding up to lead to something amazing, and that's kind of what life is like, especially like as we move through life, and we move through challenges, and we move through different things. The growth isn't necessarily obvious. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we go through like huge giant spurts of spiritual growth where we move, in completely new directions, and everything changes, those tower moments in life. But sometimes growth is small and subtle, and it's only when you look back over time that you start to notice just how far you've really come. And so there's an opportunity here, I think, maybe to take a look at how far you've come, and like in the growth that's happening for you in spring. It's small. Think about when we're gardening, like when we plant seeds, we don't like dig up the dirt every day to look and see how the seed is growing, right? That would just completely destroy the seed. It wouldn't be able to grow. So we have to plant seeds, and then we have to have a bit of faith and a bit of trust that they're actually happening, So maybe at the beginning of the year, you set some goals, you set some opportunities for yourself, and maybe you set a lot of them, right? Maybe you set a lot of things that you want to do this year. And so in the spring here, we've only been a little bit, so you don't dig up the seeds, but, maybe there is a little bit of growth happening in all of these areas. Maybe. So let's take a look at your tarot cards. So we got 2 tarot cards today from the Smithway deck. We've got the Hierophant, and we've got the 8 of Wands. Interesting. So, these are actually conflicting energies here in a sense. The Hierophant is tradition, and tradition moves very, very slowly. So, in some aspects of your life, there's a traditional growth happening here, where it's like tried and true, looking at the way that things have been happening in the past for generations and generations. There's almost like you're trying to do some of the growth that you want to have happen in your life is in some traditional area. So what would that even be? That would be like, trying to have a career happen, or, trying to do some kind of family thing, building a family, or like, I don't know, something traditional, something that a lot of people have done. There's growth in that area, but that's slow. But then we have the 8 of Wands, which is very swift moving, fast moving energy. It's flowing through the air. It's quick. It's something happening, boom, 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 So there's a sense in this reading that, there's change happening traditionally. It's funny. It's like this is like totally has nothing to do with you. I'm just getting a thought about the world right now, which I guess we could talk about. This is a reading for you in your spring check-in, but I don't know, maybe you want to know about the world too. So I'm just going to go with it. With the Hierophant, the Hierophant can represent institutions, right? Traditional institutions. And there's a big change happening in those institutions right now. With this fast moving energy, particularly, it's like there's huge, swift change. I'm just thinking of like Boeing, we got the wands flying through the air and like all of the crap happening with that right now. I don't know. Maybe you're thinking about that. Who knows? But I just feel like there's a lot of change happening all over the world right now. Little small changes happening in everything. And so maybe you're feeling really overwhelmed about that. It's possible. Maybe you're letting the world make you feel overwhelmed. So if that's happening, if you're afraid about the world, or you're afraid about life, you're afraid about everything happening around you, the first message is it's really important to remember that, like, um, big giant world events, we don't have any control over that kind of stuff. Things just happen. And so I know that that's not really satisfying, but it's important. It's important to remember that there's certain things that are out of your control. And there's no sense in allowing those things to take over your mind, to take over your worries, because, like, there's nothing you can do about it one way or another. And I know that maybe even sounds even worse, but it's not. That can be actually a really liberating understanding, by allowing yourself to realize that, like, the problems of the world, really, there's not one thing you can do about that, but what you can do is you can change what's happening in your life, so if something in the world is affecting your life, how can you make small changes in your life to make your life better about it and about things, um like like you have to bring it back to you in your life. And if the world is really, upsetting you, tune it out. And I know that, first of all, I know it's easier said than done. And second of all, you might be like, but hey, like, I need to pay attention, because, like, how else would I know what's happening? Like, yeah, I get that. But also, if you were to turn off the news, how much of it would really affect your life? How much of it would affect your day to day? And so maybe there is an opportunity for you, first of all, if something huge happens, you're going to hear about it, whether you're watching the news every day or not. Like, the most important things are going to filter to you somehow. And so, how can you tune out the rest of that and really come back into a sense of self, a sense of well-being, a sense of your life right here, right now, and grow your garden? Maybe gardening might be actually something that could help you in this, as we start to enter into spring. Maybe you can turn off the news and start gardening more, pick up a hobby of going outside and working in your hands if you have that ability. If you're in a city, maybe you can, you can pot some indoor plants. Like, maybe there's a bit of a sense of getting back into the ground and getting back into the earth that can really help you calm any of this mental fear energy happening. And this reading really took a turn, but I bet somebody needs to hear this. So yeah, there's a sense, I think, in this spring check-in to really, like, let go of the world a little bit. Tune it out a little bit. You can get through it. Like, we'll get through this stuff. Like, the world has changed dramatically many times, and yes, it's unfortunate that we happen to be living in a tumultuous moment. And honestly, though, I do think it's probably going to get worse. So there's a sense of needing to find the ability to find the inner strength and the inner calm that you can, because, I don't know, maybe it'll get better too, and it'll be worse in some ways and better in others. I'm not a prophet. Like, I'm not here to predict anything, but I just know that, like, pinning your well-being and your mental, fortitude on the external world it's not a healthy mental combination, especially in the world that we're currently living in, because the way that social media works, the way that the media works now, it, and maybe it's been like this for a while, but I just know right now, um, they make money by making you afraid. That is how their business works. They get paid based on views, based on advertising views, and the only way they can get you to look at the page all the time is to make you terrified and to make you wonder what's happening next. Like, that's their business model. So they're going to make everything seem terrifying, whether it is or not. Now, there are some truly terrifying things happening in the world right now. Absolutely. You know, we might be watching, there's a lot of things going on. I'm not going to make my political views known here, but I mean, it's a tarot video on the internet, so it's probably pretty obvious. But, like, there are some scary things happening, and it is important to be informed of what's happening in the world. But if it's too much for you, it's too much. And there's no shame in tuning it out and focusing on what you need for yourself right now. There's no shame in that. If something truly catastrophic happens in the world that you need to know about, you will hear about it, whether you're watching the news or not. So you might as well find a way to build strength in your own day-to-day, in your own life, that you can right here, right now. Because, unless you live in the middle of a war zone, which a lot of people do, not everybody though, if you don't need to be in it all the time. And I know that also sounds like, well, you have the privilege and the luxury to just tune it out. Well, some people do have that, and there's nothing, the thing is though, it's like, it's not helping anybody in a war zone right now for you to be afraid and watching the news, especially if you're not actually trying to help that cause any, if you're not donating money or you're not doing anything for it, you watching the news about it isn't going to help them, right? So if you can't be in it, if it's too much, to turn it off, because like, you can do way more for the world by building something incredibly beautiful within yourself and sharing that energy with everyone around you. Like, that's so much more helpful to this world than watching the news in fear. Like, it's so much more helpful for you to build something beautiful that is tangible, that other people can also have, even just like, if you're able to come back into your own strength and then take that strength out into the world and buy a cup of coffee from a place of feeling great, and then like, you can then make the barista's day, and help change other people. And that is tangible. That's real. That's an impact that you can have in your day-to-day life that is positive on the world. But you being afraid and staying at home and watching the news and, fear, building a bunker in fear and, never doing anything ever again, that's not helping you, and that's not helping the world. That's just being in fear. And you can't make any kind of positive change by living in that, right? There's no positive change coming from that. So yeah, anyway, let's look at your oracle cards. This reading is totally not what I was expecting, which is fine. So first we have Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. We have children. Interesting. Okay. Well, I do think that there's an importance in taking a childlike mindset, viewing the world from the eyes of a child. Kids are so optimistic. They just see the good in the world. They're curious, they want to learn more, and they want to build something great. They want to just have a nice, fun time and a fun life. And so there's a sense in, allowing that to be your perspective for the next few months, Pull up the child mindset again. View the world with wonder, not with fear. We don't know everything that's happening, even in the immediate world around us. So anytime you feel like you're in anxiety or you're in fear, take the opportunity to shift it into curiosity. Anything that you're afraid of, say, okay, I'm afraid of this thing. How can I be curious about this thing? Start asking it questions. Start asking your fear questions. If you're terrified about what's happening on the news and it's making you really scared, change it to curiosity. Be like, okay, well, what is actually happening? Or, what is happening that I have control over? What about this is scaring me? Even that. Like, why is this frightening me? Okay, how can I look at that? And maybe it's a fear of death, and that's a thing that we all can experience, but like even that is sort of like, well, view that with curiosity. Why am I afraid to die? What about that is it? Because death is an inevitable thing for all of us. It's all going to happen one time or another. How can I view that from a place of curiosity instead? Like, what does that mean? Why am I afraid of this? What's going to happen? How can I view this from a place of calm instead? Like, okay, I know that I'm going to die. That's going to happen. How can I live my life right now where I'm not living in fear of that thing happening, because it's going to happen. How can I live in a sense of happiness here right now? How can I live in a sense of peace knowing that, well, even if it's going to happen, I can still enjoy my life because, it's an inevitable thing that we're all going to face. We're all going to face that. Yeah, that can be hard to do though. So give yourself time in that. Yeah, that's intense. But it's okay though, it's okay for it to be intense. It's okay to meet yourself where you are. And if that's really what this is about, if you're afraid of going, like we're going to go some way. So how can you take that back into your own hands as well and be like, well, okay, that's all right. The universe is going to bring me to that point eventually. So, all right. But I'm not there right now, you're not there right now. So how can I be here now? What can I do with my time right here, right now? What can I do with my life that's going to make me happy in this moment or make me feel fulfilled? What can I do to make myself fulfilled so that, when that time comes, I'm not living in regret? How can I make this moment peace and happy for myself? This is an intense reading, so, if you made it this far, hi. I hope you're doing okay. Don't worry if you're not, too, because that's part of life, too, and, we're all moving through this together. So anyway, one final card with the Healing with the Shamanic Oracle. We've got creativity. All right, and see that flow happening. So, really get curious in life here. Instead of meet your anxieties and your fears with curiosity, because that's going to help build something beautiful, in this creative spirit, this creative energy. Embrace the creativity. Maybe you do need to tune the world out a little bit and do something creative for yourself, and that might actually help you move out of this fear energy. Anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to leave you there. I hope that is a good spring check-in for you. It's a bit of a different reading than the others got and is a little bit different than what I was expecting, but I think it's important for me to let this just be what they need to be. Anyway, like I've been telling you other piles, this is, I'm going to keep putting these videos up. I cannot guarantee how often I will be making them, but just know that they're going to keep coming. So keep an eye out. Every once in a while, there'll be a reading. Eventually, I'll be able to do these more regular again when my life changes a little bit and I'm doing something else, which will happen eventually. For now, where I am, how I'm doing things, it's a little bit challenging to do these all the time, but I'm going to keep doing as many as I can because I want to keep bringing them to you. Anyway, pile number 3, that's it for me. Catch you later. Bye.